You know, I come here year after year, and I think I'm in utopia, because everyone tells me all the things that they are doing to protect human rights defenders, and yet I know from my work, day in, day out, that this is not the case. And it saddens me that I know you have to, support your government's policies and that, but everyone here could be a human rights defender. There are many things you can do in your own capacity. Thank you for being brave, by the way, Algeria and Brazil. You know, the countries that have challenges in their human rights and want to improve, they're the ones that are open and willing to receive me. So I thank you for that. It's not often that those kind of countries will invite me. In fact, out of, I got 18 refusals, or not answers, one or the other, to requests for country visits, including 10 who say they have standing invitations. Another fiction. So just to answer some of the questions, and I should say there's been one positive development. In Saudi Arabia, Mohammed al-Qahtani has been released since this report was drafted. And this is good news, although he still remains under a travel ban. Now, just to address some of the questions. Better supporting human rights defenders in remote areas. And particularly conflict areas. Some human rights defenders choose to stay in conflict and to work there, and some leave and some continue and have to flee when they're targeted. So defenders need not only financial support for supplies and an escape route if the situation becomes too difficult. I mean, the issue of visas. All of you are really bad when it comes to giving visas to human rights defenders. There are very few countries. Spain is actually, I think, one of the leaders, because not only have they had a visa programme for years, but they also brought the EU together to ensure that human rights defenders were recognised as a category that need humanitarian visas together in the EU when they were president of the EU. Sudan, I want to specifically mention Sudan, which is becoming a forgotten conflict in forced disappearances of human rights defenders, and their continuing targeting by the RSF put communities at great risk. One of my human rights defenders in Sudan told me yesterday. He said no one is left to monitor violations, and human rights defenders are key to bringing about peace in the country, and I'm calling on you all not to forget them. And of course, Gaza, I'm extremely concerned for the fate of Palestinian human rights defenders in Gaza, who've been through so much and are now facing a new criminal blockade by Israel. And, everyone has to work for a ceasefire and that the occupation ends and that there is accountability for all crimes. And please, please, don't make this a political issue or a historical issue. Make it a human rights issue. DRT, my heart is breaking at the moment because of the DRT. Over the last few weeks, I've talked to human rights defenders in Goma, in Bukavu, and in Uvira. And Friday, a woman human rights defender said to me, without peace, life has no meaning. Without peace, life has no taste. Without peace, life is governed by suffering. Human rights defenders in eastern Congo need the ceasefire to be respected, and they need protection and evacuation. Ukraine mentioned again, defenders continue to do life-saving work. And I understand that some of the rescue teams in the east are too small to qualify for exceptions to the national draft, and that should change. But generally, those human rights defenders who are detained in remote areas, make requests to visit. I ask you, please visit these defenders. Ask for information about them and stay in touch with their families. We all know the only thing that works is persistence and interest, the same sort of persistence and interest you would show if it was a member of your own family or a friend. Access to the Palais, I think we need to put in place virtual access for remote human rights defenders who haven't either the time or the money to come to the Palais. And also, we need to work on reprisals. You lot, excuse me, I shouldn't say you lot, you states are responsible for the protection of human rights and responsible to ensure that there are no reprisals. And even yesterday, there was a fear of a reprisal. And I just don't know why you are still allowing that when you are sitting here in grandeur, well-educated and experienced, that you cannot stop reprisals. On funding, we're seeing funding being cut everywhere. It's not just US aid. A lot of the European Union countries are cutting funding, and I think it's really important that that remains. Specifically Bulgaria, thank you for your intervention, but I just want to ask you, I've been involved in a case of a Saudi Arabian in Bulgaria. His name is Abdul Raham Al-Khadid, and he's currently detained in Bulgaria. And we really do not want him to be sent back to Saudi for obvious reasons. So I'm calling out here now for his to be granted proper protection. Escazu, I can't talk to you. Sorry. I have 15 seconds, or she's afraid I'll run on. The Russia and China, you never invite me, you never talk to me, and you complain about me. So that's easy. And you keep detaining human rights defenders, giving them long prison sentences, putting them away in remote areas where their families or lawyers can't visit them. And it seems to me that I'll stop there now because I have reached the time. Sorry. Sorry.